can run from the truth, but the truth will always be that everybody who considers themselves Black American are Africans. No! You are an African. Black people choosing to wear ignorance as a badge of honor is the very thing that keeps Black people stuck.
Genetically, after about 8 to 10 generations, 250 to 300 years, there's a high chance you'll share no DNA from many specific ancestors with genetic contributions, becoming diluted to almost nothing, making you practically unrelated in a genetic sense.
Ever since the melanated person has made their way out of Africa, whether through voyage, passage, or enslavement, they have found their identity within the new land in which they reside, whether they become Brazilian, Jamaican, Cuban, Colombian, etc. But when it comes to the melanated person of the United States, the so-called Black American, there's an issue when they want to just be labeled as American or FBA and not add the African title as well. So today we have Black Americans are ignorant for not calling themselves African. The Love Jones Show. All right.
You know, my heart is truly saddened for the Black Americans who refuse to accept the truth that they are of African descent. Here we go! Y'all have created, I guess, a new race amongst yourself to make you feel better. You can run from the truth, but the truth will always be that everybody who considers themselves Black American are Africans. No! You are an African. Girl, no! And Black people choosing to wear ignorance as a badge of honor is the very thing that keeps Black people stuck.
Girl, my heart is truly sad.
Before you go, I would like to say that this isn't placed upon any other group of melanated people in the earth that have come from Africa and specifically a trade slave, right? The transatlantic slave trade, the Arab slave trade, right? So these melanated people can go around and say that they're this new European created border. They can claim these borders and don't have to say Africa. And first off, don't get it twisted. Africans did come here. All right, they did come here. All right, some of us are, a lot of us are, but a lot of us are indigenous too when you do your research, right? But even if you want to say every person is a slave, right, or from Africa came through the slave ship, it's been 500, 600, 1,000 years, right? A lot of people lineage goes further back. Anyway, it don't even matter. I'll just let her go. All right, we don't, whatever.
And that we still have to continuously have this conversation time and time again. Black Americans are not African. We have not, if you want to say that we have a distant ancestor from Africa, we are so far removed that we literally are different. Let me show you. We've been through something called an ethnogenesis. And I also want to break down how many generations it takes for you to be genetically different. Let me show you something. I'll be right back. Give me 2 seconds. Ethnogenesis, the formation of a new ethnic group, isn't about a fixed number of generations, but depends heavily on social, cultural, and environmental factors, potentially taken as little as a single generation, a few years under intense pressure, like a shared enemy, catalyst, or longer, with some studies suggesting new identity can solidify with 3 to 4 generations with distinct cultural markers and I don't know how to pronounce this word, endogamy, I don't know, marrying within the group. It's more about a perfect storm of identity shift, not a genetic timeline. Now let's get to the next slide. How many generations does it take to not be related? You're never truly not related if you go back far enough, like a 1,000 plus years, as everyone shares common ancestors. But genetically, after about 8 to 10 generations, 250 to 300 years, there's a high chance you'll share no DNA from many specific ancestors with genetic contributions, becoming diluted to almost nothing, making you practically unrelated in a genetic sense. For practical DNA testing, 9 plus generations back, like the 8th great grandparents, often means you're considered genetically distant or unrelated. 8 to 10 generations to not be related.
Well, thank you for saying that because that's something that needs to be. Most people have not even been to Africa, okay? And then when you do your own research on your own land, first off, only 5% of the slaves came here. All right, only 5% of the slave. We're not trying to distance ourselves from Africa, okay? But we've been here. This is what we've been through, okay? This is where we're at. This is something I don't understand what the problem is if we're in America and saying that we're American, although I'm not in agreement with none of these titles, not black or American, but if that's what we're gonna say, what's the problem?
How many generations, if we just going by the indoctrinated version of history, because y'all love what the white tea taught y'all love it. So we just gonna go by what the white tea taught. How many generations have black people been in America according to the indoctrinated version of history that we learned? Black people have been in America for around 12 to 14 generations. For the majority of those who are descendants of the slave trade, the first documented enslaved African was arrived in the English colonies in 1619. Even Child, I'll be right back. Give me a second. It takes how many generations to not be related? 8 to 10? And how many generations have we been allegedly in the United States of America? 12 to 14 or something like that? We are not African. Even if you want to say that, if you want to believe the transatlantic slave, if you want to believe the straight out of Africa theory, which is a theory, which is a hypothesis, which is an idea, which is an educated guess. If you want to believe that, we are still no longer African people after 12 to 14 generations. And we're going to just say this. A lot of us were even here even before that. You all like to make jokes. Ma'am, you probably African off the continent, from a continental African. You all, not all, like to make jokes and say that we're slave babies and we're grape babies and massa came and was graping. So clearly we have a little bit of everything going on inside of us genetically. Some of us have some European up in there. Some of us are just indigenous, Afro-indigenous, mixed with a little. Some of us are mixed with the Siberian indigenous, Native American, not indigenous, sorry. Like, come on, bruv. We're not African people, and it's very disrespectful to continuously try to force us to identify as a group of people that we have nothing in common with except for the same hue of complexion.
And the thing she was saying about the jokes about the slave, like I say again, only 3 to 5% of the transatlantic slaves came here. The rest of them went to the Caribbean and Southern Americas. That's why I don't understand why this is trying to be put upon us so much. But if you want to finish watching this video, you can just go to the link in the description. But shout out to Africa. This is just same thing with Haiti, right? This is not hate. This is just giving actual facts out, bro. The truth doesn't have to be hate, all right? So shout out to Africa, shout out to Ghana, shout out to Nigeria, shout out to Southern America, shout out to Jamaica, shout out to Colombia, but shout out to melanated world the most. We out.